everybody, and welcome back to the Insert Wisdom podcast episode number 6. This is kind of an impromptu episode. I did not think that I would be recording anything tonight, but that's kind of the nature of how I like to create things. I think in this episode, again, I always say this at the beginning of all the episodes that have gone on to be the longest, but I don't think this will be a very long episode. But I have a glass of wine here and a new candle. It's called Dark Academia. It's like cedar and leather, and anyway, if there is a vibe, I will set it. But I was doing some journaling, and I was doing some reflection on myself and what has been true for me in my life. And I had this phrase come to mind of how one of the greatest lies that we have been told is that we have to be like everyone else. And what I mean by that is specifically to do with cultivating an audience or in being successful, quote unquote successful. Hustle culture, what the world tells all of us we must do in order to be successful and to make money and whatever else. And if that were true, if it were true that all of us need to hustle every day, work hard, essentially kill ourselves every day with doing all the things, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself until you're exhausted at the end of the day and all that. If that were true, we wouldn't be having such a crisis today with how stressed out everybody is, with how burnt out people are. I barely know anyone who is truly satisfied with their life. And I really think it's because we're living in a world right now where we're connected more than we ever have been before. Social media is constantly showing us images of people, quote unquote, living their best lives. We have less connection, less empathy, less humanity. And it's kind of like this dog eat dog mentality that if you do not rise to the top, if you don't do everything you need to do to get there, then you will die. And I just simply don't believe that to be true. I believe that I have mentioned human design before. This is something that I find absolutely fascinating, and I think everybody should also find fascinating because it's literally you. It tells you everything about you and how you're meant to operate in the world. It's your unique energetic frequency. In human design, there are 5 different energetic types. If this sounds woo-woo or strange to you, stick with me. I will anchor it in real-life examples that all of us can hopefully relate to. But the model that we are told that we have to make our lives, quote-unquote, successful or meaningful or whatever, is the blueprint that is set out for the manifestor type in human design. And manifestors only make up around 9% of the population. What do manifestors do? They are the ones who can go out and make shit happen, right? They're the ones that can initiate, pound the pavement, work hard, and they can inform the world, the people around them, what it is that they want to do, and then it happens for them. Generally, obviously depends on their charts and their unique frequency. But that is only 9% of the population. The rest of us are built in a different way. And I'm not trying to make this episode about human design in particular, unless that is something people are interested in. But the point that I'm trying to drive here is that the model that we have been prescribed to make something of our lives, whatever that means, or to be successful, to get ahead, to have money, to have fancy cars, whatever it is so blatantly untrue and detrimental to living a good life. Of course, there are some people who do enjoy the grind, getting up every day and sweating and collapsing into bed exhausted because they gave it their all and they pushed and all that stuff. But, I think there's I don't know if you just heard the car going by, but hello. If that's for you, then that's great. But I'm more so just speaking to this idea that has been ingrained in all of us, that is the only way to get ahead. And I have seen so many people get ahead in so many different ways that have nothing to do with grinding, nothing to do with hustle culture, whether that's getting ahead through word of mouth, through posting one voice note from their desk, while they're in their PJs, but then thousands of people listen to it, and that generates income or interest or whatever it is that is applicable to their lives, right? Or they are just so attuned to who and what they are that the world bends to them. They're not trying to make the world, they're not trying to bend the world. It's the inverse. We are so future focused. We spin these ideas about what it could look like and how if we don't do this right now at this moment, then the future is going to suck and we're going to be out on the street or we're not going to have enough, whatever the fears tell us. But this is why I really love Eckhart Tolle's teachings, because he says that no one has ever been to the future. It does not exist. The only way that the future ever happens is in the present moment. We are creating our lives in the present moment. That's it. So I think it is completely useless to look to the future and say, oh, well, I don't want it to be like this, so I better do this now. People make decisions based out of fear because they think that they have to scramble to make their lives fit in a way that's just right, that they can take care of themselves and everybody around them. But again, anytime we are doing things based in this anxiety, in this fear, it's just not going to pan out. It's going to be not good for you. You're going to burn out and you will collapse, and then eventually you'll have to regroup and say, okay, this isn't working. How many times do you want to have to do that before you sink into yourself and you realize how you are meant to operate for you to know that that is the correct thing for you? We are so quick to only trust what we can actually see, the material world. We don't have faith that the seed is growing or that there are energies or frequencies around us that are shaping our world just as importantly, viscerally, whatever word you want to ascribe to it, as whatever we do physically. This is why I ascribe so much meaning and importance to the reality that we have to know ourselves so intimately and clearly that we can hear everything from the outside world, but have the discernment and the ability to say, actually, no, that doesn't work for me. If that works for you, great, but I'm going to follow this path instead. Most people just, accept things blindly, like, okay, here's this YouTuber who said, here are 5 things I did to grow my channel. Okay, fine, that may have worked for him or her or them, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Of course, I believe in experimenting and taking advice from other people, but I also really believe in just filtering, becoming a professional filtration system for yourself, like practicing discernment and knowing what is for you and what isn't. I wish that more people knew that. I wish more people understood that. This preoccupation with the future and with these imaginary scenarios that we drum up to freak ourselves out. It really is kind of psychotic when you think about it. None of those things are real. You can say, oh, well, I experienced this before. There's this pattern. That means it'll probably happen again. No. You can break that pattern by being different now in the moment. I just think it's so useless to think about the future in an anxious way and say, well, I don't want that to happen, so I need to ascribe to a system or a way of doing things that the rest of the world tells me this is what I must do in order to be successful. I think that it's absolute madness because it's clearly not working. Every time I go on social media, everybody I see on there is talking about how stressed out they are and how, like, okay, yeah, there is a subset of people, you go on there now and they're calling themselves queens and kings and, you know, they've got this and girl bossing and whatever it is. And that's amazing, right? Like, I'm glad that the narrative is changing that way and that there are people who are becoming more and more attuned to that, but it's still not quite the same. It all seems so hollow to me. And maybe that's just my projection onto it, but my greatest wish for people is to know themselves and to know that it's okay to take a different path. It's okay to find center, your center, whatever that looks like, and be unafraid to ask the important questions. Do I even want this? Do I even want what is the quote-unquote perfect life? Do I actually want to be a millionaire? Do I want to be a CEO, an entrepreneur, you know, whatever it is? What is it that I really want? What is it that lights me up? And if you don't know what that is, I promise you already know the answer. But it takes courage and it takes the ability to be still and to reflect and to not blindly accept advice from the world just because they say it works, because it clearly is not working. In my opinion, logic is not the way forward. I think delusion is the way forward. I think the more you believe in the power of the unseen and what you think is true for you, cultivating sovereignty, listening to that inner voice, whatever that feels and looks like, that is the true road to you. Whatever you've been put on this earth to do, have, and be, that's how you get there. It's not going to be in hustling. It's not going to be in grinding, killing yourself every day at the gym, and juggling a million things and calling that a life. Again, that's just my opinion, but that is the phrase that came to me tonight. The greatest lie we have been told is to be like everyone else. So, with that being said, I think I might actually have stuck to what I said in the beginning of this episode, that this is going to be a shorter one because it's currently at 13 minutes, 39 seconds. But I just wanted to record this. Part of my reflections tonight were in realizing how much I love audio work. I'm going to be posting a lot more random audio shorts. I can't even think of the word right now, but on Threads. I love posting just little phrases or things that I'm thinking about in the moment. And of course, as always, you do not have to take anything I say and apply it to your life if it doesn't resonate with you. I just love to yap and share the things that I've learned and what I feel is true for me. And I love to share that with the world. And if you find yourself in my words, my writing, my vibe, whatever you want to call it, then that's wonderful. I think I've mentioned this before, but one of my favorite quotes of all time is by Ralph Waldo Emerson, where he said, "I sought not to bring people to me, but to themselves." And I hope that maybe you found a bit of yourself in this episode. So, just after 15 minutes, I want to say thank you so much for listening. You can find me on all the socials, basically, except Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter. I mostly post on Threads and Instagram stories and Substack. If you would like to read more of my writing, you can check that out on my Substack, Insert Wisdom, same name as this podcast. And I want to thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.